Here's the latest weather forecast from Bowe Radio.
Oh, you can tell winter is coming, can you? Oh, it's turned Baltic. It's turned wet as well. And I don't want to sound like Mr. Moneybags here, but I have turned the heating on as well. It's ridiculous, isn't it? And, well, tonight it continues the story, staying dry. Because, of course, it's dark now. We have a low of 10 degrees. And tomorrow, because it's Monday, just to really wind you up, there's a little bit of rain in the afternoon, but dry all day otherwise, with a high of 16 across Sherwood.
A Wee Natter with Jenny and Marc Steele on Bowe Radio.
It's A Wee Natter. I'm Marc Steele, and across the table for me should be Jenny Steele, but unfortunately she's a little bit distracted at the moment. She's off recreating the film Kes, but with a peregrine falcon. I know, it's a crazy thing to do, but it's the sort of thing that she wants to do, and she's off doing that. Maybe she'll be back next week, but I am, if I had an ego, back this week. Let's get this in the right order. I'm back this week because I've been on my holiday. If I had an ego, I'd be announcing it like this.
Guess who's back, 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 back again. Shady's back, back, back. Tell a friend.
Yeah, I'd be doing it with, a 25-year-old song from Eminem. Of course, that's me all over, isn't it? And on a slightly more upbeat note, you have been in touch, despite the fact I've been on holiday, you have been in touch. And we'll have a little look at the communiques you've been sending after this one from Kenny Loggins as we go into the danger zone on A Wee Natter from Bowe Radio and Fatcham Town Radio 2. I don't know about you, mainly because I'm not you, but when I hear that song, Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone, is it only me that gets in the mood for going out and nicking a fighter jet? I mean, it can't be that hard. They don't have keys and locks on them, do they? And Lincolnshire's only down the road. There's a ton of RAF bases. They won't notice if we nick a Eurofighter or something, will they? They wouldn't know it. They've got enough of them. They wouldn't care. I suspect I'd get into a lot of trouble for that one. But one thing I am not getting into trouble for is the communiques you have been sending, despite the fact I've been on my jollies up north in Scotlandshire. Yes, I returned north of the border to bring them news of what's happening down here in the Midlands of Englandshire. And a couple of you been in touch with a couple of different topics, going back a couple of weeks now for societal norms that we need to change. And Sam has said playing drinking games. I remember the first time I went to a friend's house, and little did I know that they planned to do some sort of drinking game involving cards. Luckily, I wasn't taking part in that essence of the game, but I think they saw me as someone who wasn't fun to be around. And he does go on to say he does pal around now with a group that's not focused on drinking, which is a very good thing. He's found the right friends for him. But I have been thinking, especially as we're getting to that time of year now when we start to do Whamageddon, which if you've never heard of it before, it's a game where you try not to hear Last Christmas by Wham. And don't worry, I'm not going to pop it on the wireless for you during this show. In case you're wondering, oh my God, he's going to go all Christmas. No, way too early for that. But imagine turning that into a drinking game, and then every time you heard Wham's Last Christmas, you had to do like a shot of whiskey or something like that. You'd be in a coma before Halloween. It's ridiculous, isn't it? And also touch somebody who was listening to the tape recording we put together for last week. So I wasn't here, but I did leave a tape recording because that's how high quality and high tech we are around here. And Vicky Farrell was saying, thanks, Marc, great show. I was itching to comment as usual, particularly in the section about things we were prohibited from doing as a child, which other kids were allowed to do. Yeah, because it turns out, amongst many things, I wasn't allowed to eat beef as a kid when they had that whole BSE scare. And it went on till I left home. And we went really on a long time with it. But anyway, Vicky was saying these sort of things that other kids were allowed to do, but I wasn't, included watching Grange Hill, eating popcorn or candy floss, and going to the arcades. Wow, that's quite a lot of stuff. Although I don't think you're missing anything at the arcades. The 2p machines, I know they've turned them into a TV show on ITV now, but I don't think you're missing anything there. Plus, she's also saying, my parents always refused to have a microwave in the house. And we still had milk delivery around here, by the way. Looking forward to the return of the live show next week. Well, the live show might have returned, but I can't deliver you milk, so you'll have to stick to your milk bin. On a slightly different note, we'll have a chat about some unfortunate names after Joss Stone.
You have me,
about you, but I've certainly not heard that one in a good wee while. Just on You Had Me on A Wee Natter from Bowe Radio and Fatcham Radio too. I'm Marc, by the way. Hope you're having a fantastic Sunday evening. I'm going to make it even better now by bringing you some joyful animal news from Edinburgh Zoo. Not because I was anywhere near Edinburgh Zoo, but Edinburgh Zoo happened to have some news while I was away on holiday, and I thought I'd share it with you because it's very nice, cute animal news, and it is that they've got a new adorable arrival. Red pandas, that they've got a pair of them that are breeding, have welcomed a tiny new kit. The 9-year-old youngster recently had her first health check, and they're delighted to share that she is doing well. So they've got a cute little red panda kit, it's called, not a cub or a kitten or anything like that. It's called a kit, and they've got a wee baby one. And I'm thinking, oh, that's cute. That's a fantastic wee story, isn't it? Until I found out what the names of the panda parents are. So these red panda parents are called Bruce, I'm guessing based on Robert the Bruce or something like that, and Ginger. I get it, red pandas aren't red in colour, but calling it Ginger, that's a bit on the nose there, isn't it? So it got me wondering about those names that you've heard given to people or things that are just, well, a little too on the nose or a bit unfortunate to be called. I'd love to hear your examples. Give me a call. My phone line is open, 0115 888 3268. That's 0115 888 3268. You can email weenatter@solidradio.co.uk, or you can get on the live chat and tell me about those rather unfortunate names that you've heard people and things have.
As you promised me that I was...
Annie Lennox and No More I Love Yous. Before that, we had Stick Season by Noah Khan. It's A Wee Natter for Bowe Radio and Fatcham Radio too. I'm Marc Steele, by the way. Thanks for joining me this fine Sunday evening. And remember, you can join us on live chat as well if you want to watch the radio. It's mixcloud.com/live/A Wee Natter, where Vicky Fairweather is asking how my cat Sue is doing and did she enjoy her holiday. She's doing well. She keeps popping around because I'm doing that working from home thing here, and she keeps joining in at moments where it's not very useful for her to join in. There are some days where she could join in, it'd be fantastic, and the moments she picks are not those moments. And we're also having a chat about those unfortunate names that things and people have given off the back of the fact there are some red pandas in Edinburgh Zoo, and one of them is called Ginger. And one of the things that popped into my mind while I was listening to Annie Lennox about unfortunate names is, of course, the town of Newark.
Covers versus originals.
And if you're a little bit lost on that one, Newark is an anagram of something, and it begins with W. I'll let you work the rest out. Anyway, back to covers versus originals. This is the bit where I put you, yes, you, in charge of the music, and you have to choose between a cover version of a song and an original version of a song. We've been doing this so long, I can't remember if we've done this song yet or not. I should maybe write these things down, but I haven't been very good at writing these things down. So, today you're both choosing between the cover and the original of Dreams. Will you be picking Fleetwood Mac or The Corrs? And to help you pick, here's the cover. That's the Corrs version. If you want to hear that one, that's what you're going to vote for. If you prefer the original, here is Fleetwood Mac. Which one, please, is entirely down to you. You are making the choice. Give me a call, 0115 888 3268. You can email weenatter@bowradio.co.uk, or you can get on the live chat. And we'll see where we end up with on that one. Which one's going to play? It's entirely down to you. Okay, hands up if you're a sucker for steel drum. Yeah, I'll go for that one as well. The Barge Rhythm of the Night, it's A Wee Natter.
Covers versus originals.
Where you're making a difficult decision between the two versions of Dreams. Are you going to pick the cover? By The Corrs, of all people. Or will you go for the original? By Fleetwood Mac. Well, if you're following the steps of Talking After Midnight, they're saying, I'll go with the Mac. I love the Cars voices, but that backing track isn't doing it for me. Well, they're not the only ones deciding. You're deciding as well. Get in touch, and the winner will be playing after this one is chosen by Cheryl. It's Meatloaf and Bat Out of Hell on A Wee Natter. You don't get to hear that one too often, do you? When it's Meatloaf, it's usually I'd do anything for love. But we want to Bat Out of Hell because Cheryl asked so nicely. And I should be not on my own. I should have somebody with me. I should have Jenny with me. I'm Mark, by the way. This is A Wee Natter. Jenny is unfortunately very busy. She's very distracted. She's recreating the film Kes, but this time round with Peregrine Falcon. It's a choice. It's a challenge. That's what she's doing. It's a hobby. And we'll catch up with her next week to see how that's done. And talking of catching up, you have been deciding which version of Dreams plays, and we'll find out what it is in just a moment.
Covers versus originals.
I know you've been making a very difficult decision choosing between the cover version of Dreams by the Cars or the original by Fleetwood Mac. And we've had a couple of last-minute votes, including Vicky Fairweather saying The Cars, please, Dandelion saying Fleetwood Mac, please, and Cheryl saying Fleetwood Mac for me. But which one won out when we tally all the votes together? It is, of course, the original by Fleetwood Mac. And after this, we'll have a chat about something that I saw north of the border that just looked completely and utterly wrong. I'll explain it all after this. And the Scorpions rock you like a hurricane. A bit of dad rock back to back is what we used to call these things, wasn't it? Scorpions rock you like a hurricane, and before that, Fleetwood Mac and Dreams. I'm Mark, by the way. Thanks for joining me for a wee natter this fine Sunday evening. And I suppose if I'm talking about nattering, go get the bagpipes out. Yes, I went north of the border for my holidays. Not because I ran out of ideas or money, although that did contribute a bit to it. But while I was there, I was finally seeing some of the tourist things that you never get to see when you actually live somewhere. So, imagine you live in a big city with a big tourist attraction right next door. You never get around to seeing it, do you? Because it's just down the road. You never bother. And one of those that I hadn't seen until this time round was the Kelpies, which I've never heard of them before. The story is about some mythical creatures that look like horses that'll drag you into the water and drown you. Very happy story. Kids love it. It's all great and exciting. But in Falkirk, of all places, in Falkirk, they've decided to build some horse statues to represent the Kelpies. But I'm stood there in front of the statues, and I can't help but think there's something a bit wrong here, right? Either they got the scale wrong, and they built the statues way bigger than the horses actually were, or the horses were absolutely massive, like the size of buildings. I suspect it could have gone either way, and in all honesty, if the horses were the size of buildings, that'd be proper scary, wouldn't it? And that might explain the whole taking underwater story. Because I think if a horse tried to drag me underwater, I think I could fight them off. But a horse the size of a building, yeah, I think even The Rock would be losing that fight, wouldn't he? I will never get why Coldplay chose to sing about Parrot Eyes of all the things. Oh, it's Paradise, not Parrot Eyes. Sounds a lot like Parrot Eyes, doesn't it? And a slightly different note. There's something that lets me play this. The little celebration we play when I manage to find a topic that is local to Sherwood to have a wee chat about.
Let's celebrate.
And this week, it's an absolutely cracker. Find out what it's all about after this one, as chosen by Hank, because he asked very nicely with please and thank you in there as well. Is Boston and More Than a Feeling on A Wee Natter? Something we haven't done for about 60 years now. Walk the Moon, Shut Up and Dance. Talking about going back in time, taking me back to long car journeys with the family and sticking the well-worn rock album compilation things in the cassette player and hearing Boston, More Than a Feeling amongst the many songs that we heard over and over and still enjoyed them all the time. And staying back back in the past, a little while ago, we were chatting about unfortunate names because there is a red panda in Edinburgh Zoo called Ginger, which feels like they're taking the mickey there, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, Vicky Fairweather's been in touch saying Paradise actually reminds me of somewhere with an unfortunate name. There's a Paradise Road here in King's Lynn. Now, if you're the boss man and you're listening, and you're going, hang on a minute, what's he talking about King's Lynn on a radio station that's here for Sherwood? Well, hold on a minute, boss man. What I've done is I've nipped over to King's Lynn during that last song. I planted a little Sherwood flag in there. We've claimed King's Lynn for Sherwood. So we're all covered now. It's all very local stuff anyway. There's Paradise Road in King's Lynn where all the buildings are boarded up, falling down on their building sites. It's a dump, an unfortunately named dump. Yes, and we were talking about the other one, which is down the road from here, called Newark, which is a very unfortunate name because it's an anagram for something that I'm not allowed to say here on the wireless. And talking about things I was saying on the wireless, I was promising you I was going to be talking about something where I'd be able to play this. Because I'd be touching on something very specific and very local to Sherwood's. We'll have a chat about that thing after this next one from Elastica. Yeah, one you haven't heard in a long time. It's Connection on A Wee Natter. I'm Marc, by the way. Hope you're having a cracking Sunday evening. Angry rock music from the 90s and Elastica Connection on A Wee Natter. And I promised I'd chat about something very local. And in fact, it's so local, it is the brand new school that they've started to build here in Edwinstowe. Yeah, they're building a new primary school. And they've gone with a new name for it, Forsworth Vale Primary Academy. And they've unveiled a new logo. Yeah, and it's supposed to be this forest school thing. So the idea is the kids go out and explore the wilderness and things like that, and they're supposed to learn more about nature and whatever else. I should probably go to attend one of the meetings and actually understand this sort of thing. But I've been having a look at their logo, and I found a slight problem with it, right? They've gone with a squirrel, which sounds, all right, yeah, that's very nature. That's very, I can see where you're going, outdoorsy nature. We'll go with a squirrel. Except this squirrel must be a rugby player. How do I know the squirrel's a rugby player? Well, the colour scheme they've gone with for the squirrel, and I'll share it with the cameras on the internet so you can see it as well. But I'll explain it for you as well, because this is radio, not just television. But they've gone with a squirrel that looks like it's lit one of its farts and it's running away. I don't know how they managed to come up with that one as a logo for a school, but it's the sort of thing that might leave an impression on young minds. It might give them ideas they wouldn't have otherwise had. I suppose it's supposed to be one of the benefits of these nature schools, isn't it? The police with the song that makes it sound like they gave up in the songwriting department. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Mission Musical Freedom.
It is indeed that part of the show where we sneak some songs past the bosses, because when you listen to the radio, the whole idea is that you tune in, you'll always hear a fantastic song, but the trade-off is that there are a whole bunch of songs you never get to hear. They're great songs, but they're not your favourites. But you might want to hear them once in a while. And what I've been doing is sneaking some of those songs on the radio at what we've called Mission Musical Freedom. And this week, I'm going to go for a song that's much longer than you normally hear on the radio. Yeah, 6 minutes. And we're going to go a little bit sci-fi with this one. It's a song that is associated with what started as a radio series, turned in some books, and even a movie or two as well. We've got to go with The Eagles and Journey of the Sorcerer, which is, of course, connected to, that Douglas Adams classic. You know the one I'm on about. Anyway, enjoy it. You don't hear it very often. It's part of Mission Musical Freedom. A song I was bobbing around to so much that my smartwatch went, you're exercising, better track that indoor run. That either says that song was so boppy that I was dancing so vigorously to it that an exercise machine thought I was doing exercise, or I am so fat and lazy that just jigging along to a wee song is enough for it to go, you're doing strenuous exercise there, boy. And before that, we went very Douglas Adams, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, with Eagles and Journey of the Sorcerer. And hands up, who else did Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy as a book? They had to do a review on at school. Nobody else has got their hands up, have they?
The Super Shonky Sunday Quiz.
A Wee Natter with Jenny and Marc Steele on Bowe Radio.
Moving on very quickly to the quiz where it's so cerebral, it's got all of one question and it's so high budget we have no prizes other than you get to hear if you answer the question correctly or if you're a bit more like me. And this time, as inspired by my trip back north of the border, back up to Scotland, as the Americans might call it, I thought I'd pick a question about said country. And this one, it's a little bit of a tough one. What is the national animal of Scotland? Yeah, have a wee think about that. It might even be on a coat of arms or two, but you've got to tell me what the correct answer is and give me a call 0115 888 3268. You can email me weenatter@bowradio.co.uk, or you can join the live chat on Twitch or Mixcloud and tell me what is the national animal of Scotland. And if you're taking a punt, it might not even be the sort of animal you're thinking of. Yeah, that's a bit of a strange one. Find out what it is in just a couple of songs' time. Inadvertently keeping the Scottish theme going with the Wets and Angel Eyes, Home and Away. And talking about Home and Away, the Wets are going to be on tour next year, 2025, up and down the country with Heather Small along as well, except in Norwich for some strange reason.
The Super Shonky Sunday Quiz.
A Wee Natter with Jenny and Marc Steele on Bowe Radio.
Heather Small, Norwich. They've got some beef or something. I don't know what is going on there. Anyway, how are you getting on with our wee question where we're asking what is the national animal of Scotland? And a few of you have been winning with some interesting guesses, including Sandra Owens asking, is it a grouse? Now, Sandra, I think you might be thinking of this. I like the thought about grouse. There's a lot of grouse in Scotland, but unfortunately, it is not the correct answer, which means, unfortunately, I have to give you this. But a few of you have been in touch with, including Hank Sant, Cheryl, Vicky Fairweather, and Dandelion. So you all get... But will you get that as well, dear listener, by telling me what is the national animal of Scotland? You've got one more song to work it out. And this song is a request for a little chap called Hank, who asked very nicely for Hollywood Beyond, What's the Colour of Money? It's on A Wee Natter from Bowe Radio and Fatcham Town Radio 2. Like a sea shanty. There's a quite fully. About 30 years before they became popular, Hollywood Beyond. What's the Colour of Money?
Super Shonky Sunday Quiz.
A Wee Natter with Jenny and Marc Steele on Bowe Radio.
How are you getting on with our little quiz question? As inspired by my trip north of the border, asking what is the national animal of Scotland? And it is genuinely in coats of arms and things like that as well. It's not a grouse. I like the thinking behind that one, famous grouse. But in order to get, you had to tell me that it was apparently a unicorn. Yeah, you didn't realise you could just pick mythical animals and use them as your national animal. You didn't have to go for a real one like a lion, like England did you? Although the Wales also got in the act of the mythical things as well, didn't it, with the dragon? Anyway, on a slightly different note, you know how sometimes when you go back to an old stomping ground, things have changed, yet some things haven't? Well, I will touch on that topic for a very specific reason after this from Fatboy Slim, right here, right now, and a bit of Igloo and Hartley in this city, on A Wee Natter from Bowe Radio and Fatcham Town Radio 2.
This city.
There's something about going to your old stomping grounds where you realise a couple of things. One is that some things have changed. So I ended up in Edinburgh and I walk off the train and out into seeing a giant golden dog turd is the only way I can explain the building that built there. Generally, it just looks like a blight on the horizon. I've been told it's been there for a few years now. But you also notice some things that don't change. So walking through the touristy bit of Edinburgh, I spotted that in a number of the shops they were selling Princess Diana Memorial Tartan. So you've got to take a moment to remember Princess Di. But then also realise It's been how many years since our unfortunate passing? Maybe it's time to move on, lads. Maybe it's time to find something else to be selling to the tourists there. Just an idea. Just making suggestions. Kiri! I can only apologise for planting that earworm. You will be singing it for the next week. And talking about making mistakes, there's one lift engineer that made a very expensive one. We'll have a chat about it after the Lumineers. Ho, hey, it's the Lumineers. And I want you to just imagine with me, we're just going to do this little imaginary exercise where we're going to imagine that you are a lift engineer. And you're going about your business in this art museum thing in Lysay. It's called the LAM Museum. You're just going about your business and you see a couple of old beer cans sitting on a table. You take a look at them and you go, oh, that's a bit rubbish, isn't it? I ought to be a good person. I need to chuck that into the rubbish or into the recycling. You know, I can't leave it lying there. It feels wrong to leave a bit of litter lying on a table. Could you imagine if you're also that lift engineer and then the museum curator comes up to you and goes, have you seen that art exhibit? What art exhibit? Oh, the couple of beer cans. They've been there since about the mid-80s. You know, we've had them as a display. I chucked them in the bin. You would be absolutely gutted if I was you, wouldn't you? You'd be going, oh my God. You'd be rummaging through the litter trying to find it, especially if he told you it was worth a good bob or two. You'd be absolutely mortified. Not that I have ever personally made a mistake like that. No. I've never chucked anything that's worth a few bob in the rubbish before and then had to buy another one. At least it wasn't a piece of artwork that was unique and one-off that would have cost more than my wages worth. Mumford & Sons being kind and saying, I will wait. And a little while ago, I played you a little bit of an earworm, Mr. and Kiri. It's going to be stuck in your head. And I got a little bit of a telling off for doing that one, so I better not play this.
The concrete and the clay beneath my feet begins to crumble.
Because that'll really get stuck in your head.
Never die, because we'll see the mountains tumble.
And I'll get into trouble for that one as well, so I better stop it. And on that note, that's about it from A Wee Natter. Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, but in good news, I will be back at roughly the same time, same place next week. But in the meantime, I'm going to leave you with this classic from Delamitri. It's Roll to Me on A Wee Natter. Have a good one.